I have returned Child and Family Services for you. So you can get to somebody else.
Well, seeing it's 7:05, we're going to call the meeting to order. I guess one of the first things we can do is go over the minutes. I don't know if everybody's had time to look them over. And
There was a correction that on the vote for the Island Concert Series in the minutes that were emailed to us that I brought to the attention of Joanna, and I believe they're corrected here now in the ones that we have in front of us. I missed the actual voting on the entity. So that was the only thing I noticed in those.
I make a motion that we accept the meeting minutes for the October 17th meeting.
Second.
we have a motion and a second to accept the minutes of the October 17th meeting, to accept them as written. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? So moved. Minutes of October
Make a second
17th are
motion.
accepted.
Second motion is that we accept the non-public session minutes of the October 17th, 2012 meeting.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to accept the non-public minutes of the October 17th, 2012 meeting. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. The minutes of the October 17th non-public session are accepted as written.
Question. Do you need these all back?
I do need those all back.
The non-public minutes will have to go back to if they're not inadvertently handed
Those are two
out.
of them. She had that one. It's not here yet. There goes her.
Okay.
Chairman, before we get into the next order of business, I had a question basically for the selectmen, and that's in years past. We have had, basically these have been joint meetings, and not all of the selectmen are here, and I was just curiosity more than anything if you were going to be holding your own meetings with different entities, or if everybody was going to be basically the same. So just curiosity. Thank you.
Okay, excellent. Tonight we have the CAP program, CAP, Community Action Program. If you want to come up, you can sit with us. Yeah, sure, come on up. We have a couple new members.
And programs like that, mostly federal and state programs. And so the allocations that we're asking for is a town share. We do get some of our administrative monies through the federal programs such as the fuel assistance and things like that. We're not asking for an increase this year because we know what's going to be coming up for the towns and cities with the managed Medicaid and things like that. We're still in the same place we've always been in. So what are the questions you have?
So you're looking for level funding for $23,389?
That's correct.
Okay. How many clients do you service for still there at this point in time.
Okay. In here is a breakdown of only for Tilton residents. So for instance, food assistance, we did 177 applications, 395 people, and it came out to $131,895 that went to various food companies. It can go to, it can be any heating source, all the way down to coal and wood and pellets. It can be renters with heat included, as long as they're not already subsidized. They can get help with some of their rent. It is a wintertime program, and to let you know what's happening this year, is a year we've not seen before. We usually get our guidelines in July. We don't have them right now. So, we don't know when the money's gonna come through for fuel assistance. It could be January, could be December, it could be 2 days after we vote a new president. Don't know. And that's kind of unnerving, because usually, in years past, the pattern is, you come in and apply, you get your letter in October, you start spending it. But not this year. So the towns and city governments are having to pinch hit a little bit for our money to come through, because people are out of fuel. And it is costly, of course. So that's kind of the bad news that's happening with that one. The other thing is, because we're a nonprofit, everything that we do, if you come in and you're eligible for a program, you've already paid for it 1,000 times. Food assistance is the FICA tax, there are very big steps. The electrical discount program, which is a statewide program, everyone in the state of New Hampshire that has an electric bill, it's your money coming back to you. All the way down to the food pantry that we have at our site. We do get free USDA foods. Again, they've already paid for that. We have a food pantry that we have set hours during the week, but we alleviate emergencies in case they need to work either Monday through Friday, so we're pretty essential. So, for new people, we think that when they come in, they are taking it away from others, and they're actually not. I actually thank them for coming in, because not only are they spending their money, but the more people apply, usually the theory is, the more money we get to help more people, so they get to keep their neighbors' house at the same time. But that's kind of what we do in a nutshell, being a nonprofit.
I noticed you had on your summary services sheets that there were, this is page 2, emergency assistance program, 0 grants, 0 persons. 0 persons because 0 grants? Does that mean it's
Which
not?
one is that you're looking at? The
On page
emergency
2, the emergency assistance program provides funds to avoid homelessness.
Yes, there were no applications done for any Tilton residents. That is a very last resort fund. We don't use it a lot. What we use part of that fund for a lot is for back rental assistance. Because there's other programs that they can get help with on their utility shutoffs, I haven't used this fund very much for that, because there's some programs through the power companies. There's the town program that they can go to, and there may be other little pots of things that they can go to also. I know Tilton's done some evictions this year, but again, these are numbers not that are current.
Lead
Yeah.
paint, is that the same?
Lead paint is not my program, but I'm going to guess that that would be covered.
Yeah, what budget year are you in now? What budget year? What is your budget year?
Our fiscal is,
Okay, because a lot of these numbers,
or July 1st, excuse me.
is it July 1st? Yeah, I was just gonna say, because the numbers are, 7/1, 6/30.
Yeah, it's July 1st.
So we don't have funds until, after town meeting in March. Do we normally provide you with those funds immediately to finish out your budget year, or do we?
After your town meeting, I usually call and see if it's been approved. And then we do the letter and the checks.
So it will cover for your current fiscal 2013. I see that there are several expenses that have gone up, or that are going up. It looks like the rent has jumped significantly. Can you,
Which year are you looking at?
well, you've got the 2013 Franklin Area Center projected operating budget,
Yes.
and in the other sheet that follows it, I'm just sure, these look like full budget years, and it looks like it was, building operations were 12,725, so we're looking at $5,000 increase in your rent. Is that true? Or is, am I
honestly
misreading
don't
that?
know the answer, because I don't deal with the rents in our building. I know that part of the building is not rented, and I wonder if that's a conversation.
Well, these are expenses that you'd be paying out, not income that you'd be receiving.
I can find that answer out for you, I don't know that myself.
The, you're looking at a total budget for 2013 coming in, you know, you've got it expense for 148,000, and for the year that just ended, June 30th, it was 108. It's $40,000 more. I mean, some of that's obviously in personnel. That rent's a big part, and it's like all these expenses, and I'm just trying to figure out where the numbers are coming from.
And I didn't put this together, so I'm not sure.
In some of your programs, I know that there are costs, like the congregate meals. There's a cost to the seniors, is that correct? The meals that you were,
$2 suggested price, yes, and that's, at the senior center. That's to help cover, I guess Meals on Wheels doesn't have as many, medical programs and things like that to help reimburse them. So that is a suggested price for that.
the same with the transportation. I know that the Franklin bus, anyways, if it's like $1 for them to get on the bus, take them to the senior center, so that's just,
Yes, and that's again at the senior center.
is that a separate,
That's a separate building price.
and is it part of what these funds cover?
We do referrals for that. We also have a Meals on Wheels paperwork and things like that.
And you've added the Tilton Senior Center part-time to that.
Not for where the meals are coming out for the delivery yet. Still having that appointment. For the Meals on Wheels drivers to take the food.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Now that you've taken into consideration what could happen to the towns throughout the year on budget process, is this a realistic budget for the services that you want to provide for the next year? And if not, what services need to be reinforced?
When this was put together, they did tell me that that would be enough because what we're trying to do, and again, maybe they know more than I do, but we're trying to get more of a federal share to help with operating expenses and not so much of towns. I guess I'll break down here. It used to be 70% federal share.
Yes, federal share, 49%.
one other thing I noticed on this, and I noticed it as well on the Winnie Transit application, is that we've asked for a listing of any liquid assets, you know, bank account numbers, how much money there is available, you know, what do your balance sheets look like for the various programs. I suppose it's not applicable. Why do you feel that it's not applicable?
From what I'm aware of,
We've heard that before from other entities. I'd really like to know balance sheet. I'd like to see the money.
okay, so balance sheets.
Yeah, or at least an explanation on why it's considered not applicable. I mean, we found other programs that they've actually had surpluses in funds. They're asking the towns for money, yet they've built up their own emergency fund, and they'll have, you know, a couple $1,000s sitting there, yet they're asking the towns for money. Not that I suppose that that's what's happening at CAP, but it would be nice to have that answered.
Anybody else have any more questions? Selectmen?
For everybody else, we're asking for a financial statement, and we're not getting a financial statement here. We're just showing what the programs are and how much they're requesting, and just a simple balance sheet. We should be having more financials. We should be seeing more financial information here. It might not be, it might be because it's, you know, the state agents run through the state or whatever, that it's, yeah, for a nonprofit, you should have financial documents that are available. They're probably about this thick, I'm aware of that, but, you know.
Is there an actual formula you use to derive the amount that each community pays?
Is that the financial statements that I'm asking about? That's okay. It's millions and millions of dollars to. I just wanted to know why it was down here as not applicable when, you know, we should be getting something like this. If we've gotten something like this, then that's what I'm asking for.
Are we sure of that? There you go.
No, if the year begins July 1st.
Maybe we can scan that and have it sent as a PDF. That work?
Would you still need something?
Nope, if we've got it, we're good.
Awesome. We're all going to be reading this weekend.
Certainly.
Okay.
I scanned that for her to work with. And I
We'll forward that back to Joanna. Scan that in. Anybody else have any questions?
I'll just make one more comment. If I may. You provide excellent services to the community, and without you, there would be a lot more people in much more dire straits for the years of service that I know that Pat through the Franklin Trip Center has provided to my elderly mother-in-law, my mother, and I thank you very much.
I would echo the sentiments, talking to different people around town, different clients. First off, which is nice, you don't hear a complaint, which sometimes we measure by not hearing the complaint, that, okay, at least you're stable with them. But then, when some of my elderly friends and some of the folks that are real difficult clients come to say, you know, I really got help, that's a good sign.
Yeah, and if there's any complaints, I tell people, I want to hear it.
Yeah, but it's wonderful that there isn't a complaint, because these are the people that would complain, and so it was good, and also the positive feedback that they're getting what they need.
Heard great reports from our welfare department too, and how you've worked hand in hand. That's really important to us. Very integral part of the community support system. Okay. Anything else? So, thank you. Okay.
Everybody's always so relieved when they get up from the table.
Funny, huh?
Okay. Next thing we have is the Winnie Transit System. Hey, I believe this is...
Is it Terry with an I or a Y?
I believe this is your second year? Second year. Okay. I know we've had some great reports from our welfare department as well, and how helpful and important the Winnie Transit is for getting people to work and appointments and all that. You've been very helpful as well. Okay, well, I think everybody has a copy of that. Now, is the financial statement, is that a separate one too?
Did somebody else get the financial statement? Did Lynn or Jane get the financial statement for that? They might have. I can't remember who they were. I know somebody did, right? If this one was handed out, that one was too.
Yeah, Lynn had, Wayne, that you down as
So give the
Winnie Transit.
I just gave you, what I had was I had Child and Family Services.
Child and Family Services.
Yeah.
Under this one, okay.
at nonprofit status or below nonprofit status at times. Okay, so it's been a very close budget. Have fuel costs been a major part of that, a component of that that kind of fluctuation that goes on? Available at this point in time. How does that impact the services that you'll be able to provide, if any?
Basically, what we do is just, look at
You have, 4 or 5 towns here listed, and I see that your town support is Laconia and Tilton. Have you asked the other towns for assistance, and have they refused to fund you, or I shouldn't say refused, but denied the funding? Yeah, the Franklins, yeah, they're very good. You probably don't touch them very much as well.
How far do you go for Vigo? Just to them all? So it's a shopping service for them and not so much a transport to the hospital or...
It's actually shopping and medical because most folks, a lot of folks have
Do any other businesses or private organizations donate towards the bus?
We started exploring that piece, and that's what we were we're looking at starting out with a food change that maybe some more speakers advertising messages or maybe some
Yeah, I would think that possibly some of the stores, that if you're bringing people right to their doorstep, that they consider. I see.
How many employees do you have?
It's a shared responsibility. It's basically two jobs.
Do you have two drivers? What happens if somebody's sick?
Basically, we do that sense
For the employees?
and they're also shared through
Drivers, they substitute for the cab drivers, and they substitute for the WTS drivers.
Is it hard,
Sometimes
is it hard to keep the, is it hard to keep them? I know that, sometimes the trip center in Franklin had problems keeping drivers. Are you finding it to be?
It's a hard position. You have to have an interesting blend of technical, on-the-road knowledge and the skill for driving, and also have people skills on top of that for dealing with folks on and off the bus.
And a lot of different.
It's a tough position to find the right fit for sure. We've been lucky with WTS, the two drivers that we have, been with us for a long time, and they're pretty well respected by the community, so.
Yeah, it's tough. They need a commercial license, a passenger endorsement, medical card, and they can go out and drive a dump truck for more money. It's this, they enjoy what they're doing, and it's tough finding them. It really is.
Okay, anybody else have any questions?
Your total town support is $7,500, and it's only Laconia and Tilton, and you're asking $5,000 from Tilton? So that means only $2,500 from Laconia? How does that formula work?
That's what they gave us. We asked for 5,000,
We asked for
and they gave us
5,000.
2,500.
Oh, you asked Laconia for $5,000, they gave you $2,500. How did you come up with the 10,000 split? I mean, how did you derive at the amounts you asked of the two communities?
Basically, it's a more or less like a percentage. It's
You can't really track the riders, I mean, to a certain extent, I guess you can tell which communities they come
We
from.
do on-offs, we do on-off counts on the bus, so
But-
we track where they get on and where they get off, but that's. nothing
If somebody
to
from
do with
Tilton's getting on at a friend's house.
in
that.
Bill.
That's exactly right, yeah.
The majority of the route is in Laconia, though.
A good portion of it is, yes. And again, that was one of the things that we went in with the same ask and the same information and the same request, and they gave us 25.
I know there was a hue and cry from Tilton when it looked like it was going to drop, but was there equally as one from Laconia and the Guilford area?
Yeah, there were some pretty vocal supporters up there as well. And the Guilford extension came around because riders actually took it upon themselves to start banging on doors as well. So, yeah, there were some very strong supporters of the system, which we're very lucky to have. We appreciate their support.
Terry, you have down that about, 1,600 people from Tilton approximately used the service last year, and you're looking at 2,000 this year, that basically, for $5,000, it comes down to $2.50. Are there more or less people from Laconia riding?
It's actually from the on-off counts, which again, we can't really say that that's definitely.
Right, exactly, but
But it's pretty even, actually, in terms of where they're getting on and off. So we have a lot of offs in Laconia because there's several people that ride from here
up there.
up to Laconia for medical reasons or shopping, and so we get off there and then get on there. So there's kind of a higher density of on-offs up there. But in terms of actual breakout of the trips, it's fairly even.
Also, I might, if I can add to that, this year, as soon as the meals, which will be probably in November, the meals are starting on Tuesdays, and then in December, we will have 3 days a week, which Terry has arranged for buses to pick up at Bell Peabody, which is a low-income housing. And we will have people picked up there and brought to the Tilton Senior Center for meals and then brought back.
That's part of the increase.
That will be an increase of the bus at that point.
That's right.
That's part of the increase that I figured out from the 2,000.
They're being picked up from where?
Bell Peabody.
And other parts of Tilton. Anybody within a quarter of a mile of the route, we can deviate off the route, pick them up at their home and bring them to where they need to go. So it would be any senior in that quarter mile radius that would like to go to the center.
We've had several requests on how we're going to get there, how can we get there, what days does the bus run, and so on and so forth. So that's why we put a phone call into Terry months ago when we knew that this was going to happen. If we could arrange something for busing, that we could get our seniors up there from the apartment and surrounding. Terry, they go a quarter of a mile off the route if they know ahead of time they're going to serve, a senior wants to make themselves available and go up there and be picked up. So we know that there's going to be an increase in the route in takers. I know that there's probably 12 to 13 people on our list right now that are waiting for the meals to come just from the Bell Peabody.
And the nice thing about that is if somebody's decided that they want to go to all 3 days for the meal, they can just set up a subscription ride with us, and we'll go pick them up all 3 days at the same time, unless they call us and tell us they don't want to be picked up. So they don't even have to call us every day. We can just go do that for them on a regular basis. Yeah, it's a great service for folks, particularly folks who are seniors and may not remember to call every day to get their ride. So it's worked out really well for other folks who they like to go shopping every Wednesday at 10 o'clock. So every Wednesday at 10 o'clock we go pick them up.
The freedom to be able to do that for a senior, not to be reliant on someone to have to take them and drop them off and pick them up, is invaluable. It really is priceless. Because the seniors, don't want to pick up the phone and burden somebody else. But if there's public transportation available, they will take that before they have to burden somebody.
And they consider it their bus.
Good.
It's absolutely their bus. They are very strong advocates for it. It's awesome.
Well, I think it's very important for our senior folks to be able to socialize with other folks. And the other piece is it's a great check-in piece that during the winter that if someone's not showing up, the bus is coming.
The drivers are very good at that too.
Very good, so I think it's
They'll call
very
dispatch and say, okay, Sally wasn't where she was supposed to be, what's going on? And we'll call and check in and make sure that everything's okay.
Yeah, because from that point, I think the other point is, I think we have gone away from public transportation, and we really need to get back to public transportation as a means of transport, especially in the economical times that we are now being encased in, that the public transportation is something that's critical for the areas. And I'm very sad and disappointed by Laconia cutting it to $2,500. I think that it was wrong, but that's my opinion, and we'll walk from there.
We're not very happy about it. I already met with the follow-up on Pat's comment about the senior center. I met with the director just a couple weeks ago, and I actually met with Pam, the Director of Elder Services, prior to that, while I was doing the schedule this summer, to make sure that we were going to be able to get by at the time that the meals would be served, so that we can make sure that that was going to be part of the schedule when I built the schedule going forward. So I'm in touch with the director now, so that when the meals do start, she's got the schedule, we know what the week's going to look like, and we're going to be able to get them there on time, so.
In comment to what you had, said before about, the seniors and, you got to watch out for them and things like that. All the drivers are trained in that, and we're small enough where we can have that personal touch, more or less, that they're actually trained to watch out, and if things start, John gets on the bus on Thursday and it's the same breakfast on his shirt as it was on Tuesday, they'll bring it to our attention.
Good.
And then that's where we haul Terry in, and we start looking into it. I mean, and with community action, we can get out there, and the names don't get mentioned to people, and
There's a lot of
it's
resources we can pull in here.
that we can pull in the resources, and the drivers are trained to look for those type of things.
The trainer, how does the trainer work?
Travel Trainer, it's a great program that we've started. It's in our second full year, and it's a part-time position that we've begged the state for money for and got to be able to work with individuals who may never ridden a bus before. And that's particularly true up here in the rural area that it is up here. Where I grew up too. I grew up north of the White Mountains, so when you were 16, you got your car, and you were going to ride your car until somebody forcibly took the keys out of your hand and you couldn't drive anymore. And now, folks are more and more frequently, not only seniors, but folks who may not have the ability to pay for a car, or their husband has died and they're suddenly without any transportation for the first time in their life, or they're a teen that's just out of school and has to get to a part-time job and has never ridden a bus before in their life. So we can now work with that person either individually or in a group setting to learn about the public transportation that's available to them in their area and go over route schedules, plan a route with them, make sure their timings are right so they can get where they need to go. We can ride the bus with them to make sure that they're comfortable. We introduce them to the driver so the driver gets to know them. So we make the process comfortable for them so that they're confident to be able to ride going forward. We do that down in Concord, we do it up here for the Winnipesaukee Transit System, and we do it a little bit with the rural transportation system, but not so much with them. They're more of a clan. Sally's going to bring Martha, and they're all going to ride the bus together, so that'll much better for them. But we do a lot of work, actually, most recently in the travel training program with folks who are from immigrant or refugee populations that have settled either in Laconia, there's a few in Tilton, a lot down in Concord right now. They've arrived with no resources, no way of getting anywhere, and no language, no English language. So trying to decipher a schedule and figure out where they're supposed to be when and what that looks like is an incredible barrier for them to try to be able to make sure that they can get where they need to go. And we've been able to work in the ESL classes with those groups to understand the schedules and learn the process, and then we go out and ride with them, usually as a group actually, to get them where they need to go and get them fluent on the bus is how we call it, so they can do bus speak. But that's part of the program that we provide as CAP, and again, part of the travel trainer's time is up here at the Winnipesaukee Transit System and also down at Concord on the CAT system.
Okay. I think there's any other questions. Well, thank you very much for coming in. It's
Thank you very much.
considered a very important part of our community support.
We appreciate the support. Thank you very much. It was wonderful working with Pat and your road.
General services?
Dennis.
Oh.
To get the stop set up, it was so nice. It was like, oh yeah, where do you want, sure, how do we do that?
2009.
It's been great. So, thank you very
Excellent.
much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate you doing that.
How's it going? Dennis retired?
Bugs me. This bugs me.
People aren't helping.
Yeah, thank you very much. All right.
Especially Black communities, so if it's 5,000 pieces.
I will take a look at home and see if I have the
Or if they come
financials
up with the
for cap.
5,000.
I don't, if I do, I will make sure that Joanna gets some.
5, so does that mean?
We switched off
Well, we're going to 5,000.
once. I put down
There's a
Wayne on
particular
that
group
thing,
of people that are-
Yep, so if I do, I will
Yeah.
take care of it, and
but it'll probably be about the same thickness,
It seems like default.
and I just crossed it out now, but
I mean, there's certainly seem to.
I will do the mea
Okay,
culpa if I have
only
to.
give us
sir.
2,500, then we can work with that.
excellent,
So
thanks.
if we only give them 2,500, does that mean they can work with that and then look to get that from the other 3 communities?
Yeah, that is,
Yeah, but
But does, should Tilton be picking it all up? No. It's not fair.
it just doesn't seem fair that they have 5 communities they're serving. Tilton pays 5,000, Laconia pays 2,500, and nobody else pays anything else. But they certainly made do with Laconia's 2,500.
Well, Guilford isn't.
Is new, okay, then take that out, you still have 4. So that's $20,000 between the 4. But they're making do with 7,500. Laconia only gave them 2,500, they're making do with that. So if we only gave them 2,500, would they make do with that? And look for the 2,500 from the other 2. I just, by default, are we picking up the tab for the others?
This wouldn't be the only agency that we do that for.
I know.
That, I
That
mean,
makes it more annoying.
I know, and I don't think that we should, because other people are not, that we should be the one that is more generous,
I
but
agree.
I can't believe that Franklin doesn't give anything.
No, Franklin doesn't give them anything, Belmont does, because they can't, because it's really rough for them. Like it's not rough for us.
It's-
That's what I was just thinking.
makes it even rougher for us.
It makes it rougher for us.
Yeah. And I guess, and I see the quandary that you're in. I'm looking at what services do we want to be able to provide to our folks here in this community. And you're right, it's not fair to Laconia, but that's Laconia. In Franklin, I haven't figured out their budget process in 4 years. The school hasn't figured out their process over there. So the quandary I'm in is, do we punish our folks because another city decides they're not going to step up?
Well, and that's part of it, but the other part of it is, how hard are they really trying to get money from Laconia and Franklin? If they have such big supporters in Laconia, where are they? Where are they? When they go before, what is it, city council?
City council, yep.
Where are their supporters saying, look, this is a service? Or are they sitting there saying, Tilton will pick it up? Do you know what I mean?
I think a clear message can be sent. I think that you have a point in that, and I'm on the advisory committee, so I can say this, that a message can be sent. I don't think that we should penalize the seniors for the work that they do for them and the service that they give. And right now, it's a very critical time when our senior center is opening and our program is beginning and our meals are starting, and it's going to be a very important part because that's going to increase the ridership. But I think that you can do like you did a couple of years ago to, for instance, the Pines, where you said, listen, we will fund this. However, next year, I want to see how many corporations you went to for wrapping the bus with advertisement to offset the cost of this. I want to see the effort that you put towards getting Laconia involved and Guilford involved. And I mean, there's very large corporations in Laconia. I can't imagine them not wanting to wrap a bus, have some advertisement on the bus. It's not just...
Tanager does it down in
It's
Concord.
already to wrap a bus already. They've already offered.
Yeah, but they don't even have them on their stop.
They're ready, willing, and...
That's the other thing.
Yes,
Yeah, but they've got them, they advertise them down in
But it's
Concord
not
on the
listed.
bus.
It's not listed on the, Tanger is on.
On the buses down in Concord.
It's not listed on there,
They wrap the buses
in the brochure.
It goes to Walmart.
They're ready, willing, and eager to do that. They've already contacted them in August of the same place. And there's 2 businesses here that are ready, willing to do
Well, I
that.
think, whereas
One
we're
person's
going to,
trying do
They can
one
each give them
spot.
$2,500 and walk
you know,
away.
That's the problem.
as,
Right, but again, Tilton's being penalized.
Wait, why-
They're not aggressively out
Give 2,500, auto insurance.
pursuing other sources of money.
well, there's the other end of it, where we have customers that we're bringing to a pharmacy and to Walmart and to the shopping stores, and that's a big service for them, because we're bringing customers
my question
exclusively
is
to them,
this.
and they should be chipping back to us.
If we
in order to-
only give them $2,500 this year, are they going to then not provide those services? When Franklin doesn't give them anything, they don't stop going to Franklin. They don't stop their route, the larger route in Laconia. They don't stop going to Guilford up to Walmart. They don't stop the stuff because they're not getting money from these others.
Because they pick up people in Tilton to go to Franklin to the doctors. That's why they don't stop in Franklin. Don't stop going to Franklin. They-
But not every rider is coming from Tilton,
That's right.
You're
you know?
absolutely right.
So are they going to stop those
No.
other routes?
No, they're not.
Are they going to stop serving Tilton because
No.
of,
Well, they did back in 2009.
They were stopping the whole,
Way back.
yeah, but that was more than just Tilton. That was the whole
And-
thing as a whole.
yeah, and that was another example of,
They cut out Hannaford's and Guilford and the Franklin Hospital route, and they cut the route in half, totally in half, so that if you wanted to get on the bus and go to the doctors, you would have to wait an hour and a half to 3 hours to get a return route. If you were just going down for blood work, it would be 3 hours later, you could come back. If you're 90 years old wanting to get on the bus and come back, you couldn't do it. It would be impossible to do it. That's why we screamed so loud. And we finally got that back, but they didn't get the Guilford piece. They got the Guilford piece because Franklin Savings Bank stepped in. That's how they got the Guilford piece.
Because,
But
yes,
there should be
because
more-
other,
There should be more businesses out there, and I can say, from being on the advisory committee, we are working on that, because there's people on the advisory committee, as you can see, we've got the sheet in front of you, that there are people in United Way, there's people in the banks, Meredith. I mean, there's a lot of people there that make suggestions on how to make this a better transportation route, make it a better company, make it a better moneymaker, so that
Thanks.
they don't have to go back and beg to the town.
Banks have always been super helpful for everything in our towns, and that it's a shame that the Walmarts and the supermarkets and the Tanger outlets are not chipping in for this, because it's one of the main reasons why people
I
take
don't,
a
I
trip.
think it's because they're not out there asking.
I don't think it's I think it's a relatively new, meaning in the last 4 or 5 years, that CAP has even owned a transit company. So it's not really an old venture for them. CAP is an old agency, but they have really not been in the transportation business.
No, when Glitter did it with the buses, they went to the Belknap Mall and
Right.
out to there.
Right.
And I know they had a lot of advertising on all of their trolleys and buses, and they also did some other things to make extra money.
But as an old agency, CAP certainly does know how to do funding. It just seems to me that they're kind of dropping the ball on this and just making the assumption that Tilton will pick it up.
I guess
I think in some ways, the perspective, from your perspective, I can understand when you're seeing that, but from my perspective, being on the committee, I really can't see that, because I think that it's one person trying to do the work of 5, and, 2 people driving a bus trying to do the work of, being there for the seniors and the people that need the bus. I mean, trying to make this work and go to people and knock on doors and getting doors slammed in your face most often, it's hard to go up there again. And that's what they're doing.
Yeah, but Tilton shouldn't pay the price for that either.
I get
Yeah,
it, but
I think it does.
Going back to them and saying, this is the last time we're going to fund it unless you can come back and say, we would like to see.
We tried that for years with the Pines.
They're not the Pines, though. They're not the Pines.
I think part of our charge as a budget committee is to represent the taxpayers, and does every taxpayer in Tilton agree with paying for the bus ride for the people in Laconia is the hard part. Seed money to get things going and doing that is great, and thinking that, as you stated before, maybe next year, we're going to cut this back if you don't, start kicking in more.
Who's going to be
Those
the
are
one to
ideas, but-
remember that we said this next year?
Well, I would say,
Scott will read the
I would
minutes.
say, I would say we're going to fund this. However, I would write the letter right now. I would write the letter this year and say, we're going to fund this. However, we will not fund this next year unless you show us ways in which you're going out there, knocking on the doors, and with, getting advertising, cutting down the cost, because we are not going to pick up the brunt of the budget when other towns aren't. Simple as that, period. End of discussion. And I think that knowing the relationship that we've had over the years with CAP, they'll step up to the plate. This is a new venture for them. And I think with the relationship that we've had with CAP, they'll do it. This is a CAP agency. This is under CAP.
I think it's important too that we remember that the people that can get hurt the most are the ones that need the service the most. We're all going to be there someday. And we would appreciate the fact that if you want to go somewhere, just to get out of the house, or be able to go somewhere to be with other people your age, so you can, communicate and enjoy your company. It's the buses that are going to take you there. Because
No, they're not coming to my house, and I'm not walking down the hill at that point.
call them up, they'll pick you up.
I'm more than a quarter mile off the route, sorry.
There is a service out there for the seniors that if you call and let them know, they
The
will
senior
come and
bus
get you.
will. Not the-
Jill, the bus service is really for anyone that uses it.
Yes.
The seniors just get a discounted rate. ADA doesn't, people with disabilities don't, but the seniors do.
There's the senior bus, and there's a Winnie Transit. We're talking about the Winnie Transit.
No, according to the brochure that they gave us, people can ride on this Winnie Transit system,
That's
ages
the Winnie Transit, correct. But
5
there
through
is
12.
another bus cap, and it's called the senior. It's the rural, it's run out of the center.
So this is a community action.
Yes.
Yeah, they're both community action.
So they only gave us half the story?
One is funded by American Elders Act, and it's only for seniors only, period. So in disabled, and also disabled people who, when Softy Transit is for everybody.
Right, and that's what we're talking about. We're not talking about the senior rural transit that will come up and pick you up and take you to your doctor's appointment.
So even
Same.
if we didn't have Winnie Transit, we still would have transportation for seniors, through the senior bus.
They would have to
And-
call.
and people with
They would have to
disabilities.
call
Right.
for that to happen.
Yeah. And they're the ones that we were having the problem where, yes, they get the seniors to the property, they might have to wait.
But Tilton shouldn't be funding it for the other communities, the bottom line.
I think you should have brought that up when they were here. It's really unfortunate that wasn't brought up when they were not here. They could answer that question. I really don't think that we're funding it for other communities. It's unfortunate that other communities are not paying their share, but we're not funding it for other communities.
When we're paying 5,000, Laconia's paying 25, and the other two are paying nothing.
That you can say that about Northfield.
We're
And I
talking
will
about
too.
CAP, Winnie Transit System.
We can say that about Northfield, though. We're funding it for Northfield. On a lot of other things in our budget, we don't say that, though. We bite the bullet, we say, okay, we do it.
And they obviously don't have a real formula.
It's important to the town.
No, they just picked a
picked
$5,000
a-
number.
Yeah.
Threw it out there and see what they
That's a
could
dark
get.
figure.
How many years have we been doing this now? Just a couple, right?
Last year was the first.
Yeah. We gave them $5,000 last year.
And I understand where you're coming from, Catherine. My perspective is it a valuable service to our community, and does it provide the best bang for the buck at this point in time? Is it unfair? Yeah. But at the same time, if I look at the taxpayers from Tilton, I'm looking at what's best for them at this point in time. And as a member of the Budget Committee, I would allocate those funds based upon what's the best service that we can get for the taxpayers, or even the citizens of Tilton, knowing that in some ways it may be unfair to us having to shoulder that burden.
When I sit here and I listen to, oh, well, Laconia only gives us $2,500, and there's no real, it doesn't really sound like they have anybody out there, beating the trees and looking for money. That's what annoys me.
Well, I think
I understand that.
I don't see Tanger on their schedule for stops. I had to sit here and think, boy, if I was running the Tanger Mall, I'd want that bus there.
Bus come through, yeah.
And if they came to me and said, $2,500, at least that's half of Laconia's share, I'd be like, ching-ching, yep, that's a good deal.
Stop here for a minute.
So, yeah, that's where I'm at.
Well, I think, Ned, we can bring this up again at one of our next meetings when we have a full
When we have a
complement.
full board.
Maybe some of the other selectmen are here. And if there's any other questions we want to pose to them, to get back to us.
6 people a day that ride the bus. You do that, roughly. There's 6 people a day that ride that bus from Tilton.
There's no doubt it's a great service.
It is definitely going to increase the program. The program started this week. They're increasing.
I hope they don't ask for more
Every
money.
week they're increasing, and our meals are starting in
said it
November.
was going to cost us more and more
So,
money. It's just not all doing it
That's
all.
going to increase even more.
Damn.
I know we have a new
Just so.
rate that just about every day.
Okay. Well, I guess that's all we have on the agenda. We did get the timeline for the traditional town meeting dates. We're going to have to be setting up our public hearings.
Oh, we already set up our public
Can
hearings.
we set them up?
Oh, we already set up our public hearings. Yeah, they're on the back page of
Public
this.
hearing on January 23rd, and then the public hearing on warrant article February 13th.
Excellent.
That works in that schedule, right? Let's just do it. Right, February 15th, the last day to hold at least one budget hearing. So we're planning on having our second budget hearing on February 13th, which is before then. We're good.
Okay, so we're all set?
A question?
Go ahead.
I'm going to ask it every week, except next week I'm not going to be here.
Neither am I.
We're still waiting for something from Old Home Day? I don't see anything here, any requests this year on here. And we haven't seen anything yet from CASA. Last year, we had it pretty firm that if we didn't get request from people by a certain date, and that date was in October, when we had first requested it, that we were not going to fund these people. Now, Old Home Day is not an agency that I would like to say, oh, I'm not going to fund them. But they really need to have a deadline at this point to get us that information, or I will put my foot down and say, I'm going to say no. No, 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 no.
Yeah, they're seemingly taking advantage.
Judy Tilton gave me a call on Friday and said, when do we need the budget for Old Home Day? And I said, 2 weeks ago. I emailed Peggy to check. She said, well, I just got this crumpled up old, you wouldn't believe the shape this letter is in, that was sent out in August from the Budget Committee requesting monies, and she had just got it like Wednesday, Thursday last week. And that was Judy Tilton.
Okay, did she say she was going to get one right into us so that she could get funded?
Working on it, but this was this past week.
Well, why don't we give the two of those, just send them a deadline, say, we're not meeting next week, so it needs to be here for the next meeting.
October 28th.
In 2
Or-
weeks?
We'll be dealing with the aftermath of Sandy. We'll be flooded, won't be home. All the canyons will be
So that
flooded.
brings us up to November 7th, is it?
November 7th. No. Yeah,
We'll be in November.
Nobody's coming in?
oh, nobody's coming in on the 31st. And November 7th, we have the highway and the PD coming in.
Oh, I see it down there.
Will you be talking to Judy before then, or, I don't know, we can,
When do you need it?
November 7th, by the latest?
7th?
Yeah.
We should also send her official notification as well.
Can you send her something official saying,
CASA and...
yeah, both of them?
Good.
Yeah, what kind of, going and asking people to ask for money, kind of
Right.
seems a little,
Exactly, if they don't,
they should be a little more prompt, but I think this is Judy's first year doing this?
She's the second treasurer.
She's not the treasurer. Is there a new treasurer there? Or? I don't know, who's doing it? I mean, it seems pretty easy. They've always asked for $2,500, and I guess the only thing else is to fill out the form and the...
asked for the $2,500 is because they had leftover fireworks that year, and then they had enough money that they built forward to do it for a second year, to be able to do that. I wouldn't count on it being just $2,500. And
Yeah, it rained or something, they couldn't set them off that year.
Yeah, so we cut back and had to
rolled
use
over.
their...
right. And there's only so much money, and I certainly, I certainly don't want to hit our taxpayers, myself included, come town meeting with, a little bit more here and a little bit more there, is a little bit more for everybody. Well,
I think one of the things we have coming up is with the presidential election, we don't know what things are, as Heather stated, a lot of things are dropping back onto the state, and they're going back down to the towns.
Oh, don't get into downsizing, come on, I'm just going to turn inside out.
It's like, let's, we could go on for quite a while. Downshifting, yeah.
Downsizing, downshifting. See my back? I can't even stand up anymore.
right, so we just have to really keep an eye out.
Okay, anything else?
If not, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And that's it.
Or sleep. I don't know which one.